Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and today's shout out goes to I Am Potato. I Am Potato was first to say first in one of my recent videos, and thus wins this shout out, so congratulations. Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here with a review of a neat new quadcopter, the Eachine Novice 2. What's so exciting about the Eachine Novice 2 other than it is a little tweak class drone? What's exciting about it is this is made for and intended for people who want to enter into the world of FPV. Drone flyers that have been flying for a bit here that have a little bit of experience but still have not yet entered into FPV flying. Why is this special? Is what makes this setup special? You get everything you need to get into FPV. You get the transmitter that's already bound to the quadcopter. You don't have to go installing a receiver into this. You don't have to purchase a separate transmitter and then set up the bind between the quadcopter and the quadcopter's receiver and the transmitter. It's already done for you. You also get the goggles with this. You know, normally you have to purchase goggles separately. The goggles already come with this, and it's already set up to the same frequency, same channel, so that you can immediately go flying. Well, actually, as soon as you charge up the batteries to go with this, you can go flying with this. This is set up to go without the need to purchase additional items. That's the idea behind the Novice series, the Novice 1 and the Novice 2 that's coming from Eachine and Banggood. This one, the Novice 2, is kind of an exciting little drone in that it is one of the new lightweight Eachine class FPV, micro FPV racers. Now, what's so cool about this one is that it can be powered by either 1S or 2S batteries. You can fly this indoors or outdoors. That's the intent of it. You know, 1S means flying with one battery for indoor flying, you know, where it's not going to be so aggressive an aircraft. And then, but if you want that power and extra oomph and speed to fly outdoors, you can actually slide two batteries in here and connect them through this power bridle on the back of the drone. Now, the way I have it set up right now is to fly it in 1S. We're going to start off in 1S when we go flying today, and then progress to 2S flying. But the way to do that is this comes with this little pin insert that you push into one of the power plugs, like such. And what this pin does, this pin, when you find this pin, don't lose this pin. What this pin does is shortens out one of the power ports, one of the power plugs, so that you can actually connect to just one single battery and have a complete connection to the aircraft. Let's talk about this aircraft. We'll start from the top down. This comes with a CADDX EOS V2 camera. It's 1200 TV line camera, so it's very good resolution. We'll see how well it looks when we go flying today. I'm going to be recording this on my, what am I going to use today? I'm going to use my Viper goggles today to record the video. We'll see how well this actually looks, the video recording from this drone when we fly. Although I will be also using the goggles that come with this to fly it, and I'll give you my impression of what the goggles look like, you know, the image quality that I'm seeing through the goggles as I'm flying today. Now keep in mind that these goggles do not have recording capability, so I really can't show you what I'm seeing through the goggles while I'm flying, but you'll see the FPV video from FPV video feed recorded through my Viper goggles. Now, this also has a 200 milliwatt switchable 40 channel FPV transmitter right here. That's this board right here with this antenna right here. Now, this also has on-screen display capability with SmartAudio, which means you can change the channels of this particular receiver, change the power level of this particular receiver from 25 up to 200 milliwatt actually, if you want to fly long distance, using your controller and on-screen display menu through your goggles. You view your goggles, the menu on your goggles set using this controller. The way to do that is you bring the throttle up and to the left while it's unarmed, throttle up and to the left, and push this stick up, and that brings the menu up, the on-screen display menu, and then you can scroll through the menu and change the various settings of this drone. And that also includes the PID settings of the flight control board software. You can adjust the responsiveness of this particular drone through the PID settings. But I don't recommend that for beginners or first-time FPV flyers. Don't do that until you get a little experience and you want to, you know, if you're not satisfied with the way the drone is flying, you can adjust some of those to adjust the responsiveness of the drone. Now, I mentioned the flight control board is it's actually loaded up with Crazybee F4 flight control software 4.0.4 dated 23 June. So it's relatively recent software on board here. There's a FreeSky, FrSky D8, that's an 8-channel receiver that's already embedded into the flight control board here, the flight controller, so you don't need a separate separate receiver with this. It's already built into the flight control board. And that receiver, again, is already automatically set and bound to the transmitter, which I'll be talking about here shortly, that comes with this. It also has 4-in-1 5 amp and 6 amp electronic speed controllers built into the flight control board. What that means is this flight control board, let me mention that right now, is limited to 2S batteries, which is 2 batteries. You know, we can use a 2S battery with this. I wouldn't recommend 3S batteries because this flight control board will burn out, probably burn out, because that's what it's rated to. The voltage for 2 batteries, not 3 or more. Other things about this also has EX1103 motors, KV850, and they're brushless and with ball bearings. So these are some nice smooth running motors. We'll see how well they perform when we go out flying today. And let's go, okay, more or less that's the aircraft itself. I mentioned it is a twig class, which means we have very thin arms. And the idea being is to reduce the weight of this drone, to keep it lightweight so it perform real well, and also reduce the drag from the drone. So that, you know, this, again, this type of drone, although you can fly it indoors, it really is designed for outdoor flying. It's meant for outdoor flying, particularly doing freestyle flying or high-speed FPV racing, if you wish, with this particular type of drone. Indoor flying, I would recommend considering the Novice I, which is a tiny whoop, where the propellers are protected by a ring all the way around it. But again, this is the Novice II. Again, it can be flown indoors, but again, I strongly recommend considering flying it outdoors. This is more of an outdoor flyer. Let's talk about this transmitter that comes with us. Again, you don't have to buy or purchase a separate transmitter. It already comes with this. This is a WT8 transmitter. It's branded Eachine, but it is WT8 transmitter. This particular thing here is for those countries that don't allow you to use goggles. You can actually attach a FPV monitor screen to this. Some countries don't let you use goggles. You have to use a monitor screen because they don't. They want you to be able to see the drone at all times. So you have that capability here by bringing this thing up and down like that. But for most people that use goggles, you're going to keep that down. Now the switches on this, let's go over this. Or actually mention real quick, this is an 8-channel transmitter, okay? This works with FrSky and frequency hopping, spread spectrum, that's FHSS type receivers, and also again, FrSky D8, 8-channel receivers. Now when I mention 8 channels, the channels we got are throttle, we got yaw, we got pitch, we got roll, and then we have this button and this button. This is aux 5 and aux 6. And also if you want 2 more channels, we got aux 7 and aux 8 by pushing in on the sticks. So for most people are just going to use these 2 up here, but we got additional switches if needed. If you want to set other items to work with this, you can. Actually, I don't think, I'm not sure which, I forgot to mention something about this drone. This drone has a real bright light bar, LED bar on the bottom, along with a beeper. Again, this is, meant for outdoor flying, and these items here, this light bar and this beeper, is to aid you in finding the drone. Say if you crash in high grass and you're going to have a hard time finding this little drone in high grass, but you'll be able to hear that beeper go off, and you may be able to see that light bar because it's real bright green. Here, let me plug it in to show you that. I forgot to show you that. But it's very bright LED bar. And make sure I've got it plugged in correctly. But there it is right there. See what I mean? You're going to easily see that, even outdoor in daylight. So that's the idea of that light bar there, is to help you. Some people say it's for flying at night. No, it's to help you find it in the grass when you crash out there in the bushes. There we go. Now I mentioned this transmitter. It's not the best transmitter in the world. It is an entry-level transmitter, but it will work with this drone, and it will work with other drones that use FrSky. Okay, that's a very popular receiver that you see in most FPV racer drones, FrSky. 8-channel. You're going to need to use 8-channel receiver, D8. But again, you'll be able to use this with other drones if you wish. Now this is powered by 4 AA batteries, so AAA batteries. You know, not a ton of power out of this transmitter, but it should be good for about 200 meters, I'm guessing, is the transmitter range on this particular receiver. Other things you get in the box. You get a charger for your batteries, and I forgot to mention, it also comes with this case, which also comes with, I got the Flymore model, which comes with 10 batteries. You really might want to consider getting the Flymore model because you'll be set to continue flying. The basic ready-to-fly version only comes with 2 batteries. Again, the Flymore model you get 8 more batteries for a bit more cost, but these days it's getting hard to ship batteries from China, and the way that a lot of the China vendors are doing it is they're bundling the batteries with the particular drone that they're sending or selling. If you want to buy them separately, it's getting harder and harder to get them shipped from China because of safety concerns mainly. But this charger will charge these batteries. These are, I think 600 milliamp per hour. No, 460 milliamp per hour batteries. 1S 3.8 volts since they're LiHV. And this charger that you get is both LiHV charger and also LiPo charger. You switch these little switches on the bottom, or which one's on this particular drone? Yeah, this one is what's on the top. If you switch them to the left, that charges LiHV, and you switch it to the right, that charges it as LiPo, lithium polymer batteries, and lithium high voltage batteries to the left. What's the difference between LiHV and LiPo? LiHV has more voltage, more power that you can pump into that battery to give you more flight time, so they're more advantageous, especially for FPV racers. You can also change the charge amperage to this for the charger. For smaller style batteries, you can switch to the bottom, and that will charge it at 200 milliwatts. But these batteries being 460 and high C rating, they're also very high C rating, I believe. 50C? Are they 50C? Yeah, 50C. You can charge these at higher wattages. In terms of this, I would set this to 600 milliwatt to charge these 460s. It shouldn't be any problem at all to charge that with this particular charger. One thing about this charger, though, you are going to need to provide your own power supply to it. This is a 12-volt pin power supply on the front or on the back here. You can also use a LiPo battery, but those of us, those beginners out there that have XT60 LiPo batteries are few and far between, so you're probably going to need to provide your own using a 12-volt pin charger. These are inexpensive. They run about $4 actually on Banggood, where you can get this drone. You can buy a pin charger separately, a 12-volt power supply charger. And this is a 5-volt output. This is for charging your phone. You can actually charge your phone, or plug a micro USB cable into this to charge other devices like this. Well, actually, you don't need to use this to charge that. I'll talk about that here shortly. Okay, other things you get in the box. This goes with that. I haven't talked about that yet, but we're going to get to that. Other things you get in the box is this, which also goes with that, with the goggles. Let's talk about this. You get a full spare set of propellers. You get a little screwdriver for adjusting, mainly for various items on this. If you want to change the motors, or particularly you use this little screwdriver for adjusting the front lens to move it up or down. For high-speed flying, you want to move it up. For low-speed flying, you move it flat. What I'm saying is, when it's pointed upward, that enables you to point the drone, give it a nice bit of tilt to give you a lot of high-speed flying and still be able to see the horizon. If you're pointed flat and you go like this, you're just going to be seeing ground. So you want to adjust this lens up or down depending on how you particularly want to fly this particular aircraft. And also you get in here, you get a little Allen wrench, a bunch of spare screws for the aircraft, and also I believe you get a prop puller in there too, prop puller, and also you get, which I've removed already, this little shorting pin. Again, do not lose the shorting pin. If you're not using it, put it back in the bag so you don't lose the shorting pin. Okay, and let's talk about these goggles. These are EV900 goggles, or VR009 goggles, Eachine VR009s. They're just a step above the VR005s, which are They're basic entry-level goggles, just like the VR005, with 2 antennas, dual antenna. There's not dual receivers in here, it's just 2 antennas, and I guess there's a switching circuit in there that whichever antenna is picking up the best reception, it'll switch to. I recommend, let's see if these bend, yeah, if you use these, especially dual antennas, I recommend bending them out like this, 90 degrees out of phase of each other. This is the way I normally do it. This helps improve reception depending on the orientation of the drone's antenna to you and the way you got your head tilted. Doing it such as this way here, whichever antenna is picking up the best reception should switch to using that antenna. If you got them both up like this, you know, you're not getting any real advantage out of using these dual antennas, because they're probably going to be receiving the same amount of power from the same amount of reception power from the transmitter here. But if you got them bent down like this, whichever one is better oriented to receiving the signal from the drone is the one that the switcher should switch to. One other thing I like about these goggles is all the switches on it are well labeled. Let me bring this up so you can see that. I don't know if it's focus or not, but you got your power switch here. You got, this has auto search ability, so if you're not on the same frequency as the drone when you turn this off, you just hold this button down and it will automatically scan through the frequencies until it finds the drone's FPV transmitter. And this is for bands. You can move the bands up or down with this button here. Actually, it just cycles through the bands when you press that button here. And also you can cycle through the channels by pressing this button here. Other things on this, you have a micro USB port here, and this is for charging charging the goggles, and you do that through the micro USB cable that is provided with this. Other items on this, you have a power on and off light, tell you whether the let's power it on and see. Well, I'll tell you what, that that is not lit, so I'm not sure. It says battery power, but I'm not seeing any light coming from that when I turn this on or off. Okay, I am on. I should be seeing battery power, but I'm not seeing anything lit there, so maybe mine's defective. Or maybe that just comes on when you're low battery. But I did charge this, so we should be ready to go. Now, one other thing that's on this particular goggles is this AV plug. And you do get an AV cable, and this enables you to plug in and view videos with your goggles. If you want to view videos, you plug this into a video source, an old-fashioned RF video source. Mostly today, you know, I figured they'd switch to digital by now, but this is old analog RC source. But again, these are analog goggles. So, you know, and this is analog FPV video transmission, so I guess that does make sense using that type of a cable with this particular goggles. Let me turn off my goggles here. So finally, what else do you get in here? You get the instruction manual for everything here. It's actually 2-page instruction sheets that you get with this. They're well written, actually, and easy to follow. Although the type is a bit small for my old eyes, I have to use a magnifying glass to view it. But it is, again, well written, and it goes over everything that you will need to know to fly this particular aircraft. Talking about how to work this, how to work the transmitter, what the transmitter can do, talking about the charger, and especially the drone, its flight control board, talking about how to adjust things in Betaflight, how to rebind the drone should it lose bind. Overall, just a real good manual for all the features of this particular aircraft. So that's enough talk, I think. Let's take this out into the field and see how it can fly. So I hope you enjoy this flight. Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and we are at one of my favorite flying fields for the flight of the Eachine Novice II. Now we're going to start off with a line of sight flying, which means no goggles, just to show you it flying. We're going to be flying 2S batteries with 2 batteries installed here without that shorting connector. So this should have plenty of punch and plenty of oomph. We'll see how well it actually does. But to fire this up, we need to turn on the transmitter first. And to do such, we press this power button, which is this button here, and hold real quick until we see both lights light up. So this is powered up. And the next thing we want to do is plug in the batteries. I already have one of them plugged in. You can do that because there's no power going yet to the drone until you plug in both of the batteries. And now both are plugged in. We want to make sure these battery cables are down and away from the blades. I have them zip tied there, but they still have a tendency to get up near those blades. So you might want to think about zip tying yours also, so there's no chance of these power cables going into the blades. So we are connected already. This automatically binds to that. Now, to arm this, look at those lights. You can see those lights there. I'm just curious. What? Okay, so this turns on the beeper. If you want to find it, just press into the right pitch roll stick, and that'll turn on the beeper. Okay, to arm the motors, we need to press this button here until you see a red light there, or a green light. This second button, I'm not sure what that does. It probably does nothing. I'd have to look in Betaflight to see, but I didn't connect it to see what this does in terms of the switches. But again, to arm the motors, right now it's not armed. You give it throttle, nothing's going to happen, but if you press this button here, the throttle does work. So that's how you arm the motors. Now, this starts off in acro mode, okay, which means no stabilization. If you're going to be flying line of sight, you have to be an expert to be flying acro without stabilization. I recommend, if you're going to be flying like right now, what I'm doing, line of sight without FPV, that you fly in stabilized mode. And to enter stabilized mode, you press this right switch one time till you see a green light there. And now we are in stabilized mode. If you press it one more time, that enters back into acro mode, but acro with air mode, which means these propellers will be spinning here. Well, maybe not. I'm gonna have to check what that is too, because on Novice 1, the second click enters into acro mode, but obviously that's not air mode because those propellers would be spinning. But let's go into balanced stabilized mode by pressing it, and then we get the green light. And let's see if that actually, oh, we got to start the motors too. Maybe that's why it wasn't spinning. Let's try that one more time with the motors armed. Yeah, that is air mode, so that third one there, I had to arm it first. So acro stabilized. We should be stabilized. Let's test it and give it some throttle. Take to the air. Push forward and see if it stops itself. It does, so we are stabilized. Let's go around once. Wow. Yeah, this is a fast bird. Let's bring it over. There's a little twig. Let's try its punch too. Bring it up close in. I want to see its punch. Punchy. Punchy little thing. Bring it back over again. Wow, fast little thing. Like a little rocket. A little pocket rocket. Okay. And one more time, let's try that punch. Pushing forward. So yeah, I'm itching to try this in acro, because if this thing moves like this in stabilized mode, I mean, it's fast, extremely zippy. I'm going to plop it right there, folks, because I was losing orientation there, and it slips quite a bit, even in stabilized mode. There's a little bit of a side slip here, so it's a little bit difficult to maintain orientation on this particular drone. But we landed. Which direction did we land? Okay, that's forward there. Going back to the air. So yeah, this is a mean little fast little machine. This little twig. And I'm just barely giving it any throttle, barely any forward pitch, but it moves like a bandit. Wow. Bringing it back. Get it up in the air there so I can bring it back to me. But yeah, now these sticks, they're really kind of inadequate for this particular bird. Well, at least for line of sight flying. When we go into, I'm going to plop it right there. But when we go into acro, hopefully these sticks will still be suitable, because they're really touchy. Okay, it feels real touchy. using these sticks with this particular drone because this one has a heck of a lot of punch. It really can zip. But let's try it in, I'm going to put a 1S battery there to get rid of that zip. It's too much zip right now. And let's try that with 1S. Hopefully that'll be a little more calm in its flight mode. So hold on, folks. Okay, what I've done, folks, is I'm still using one of the batteries I was just flying with, but I put a little bit of foam insert in there. You're going to need to do this when you fly 1S. You know, make yourself some type of spacer there. I just cut a piece of foam to fit in there to take up the space of the second battery. And I also attached that shorting pin that I told you about so that we can fly 1S with one battery, in other words. Now, before I plug in that battery, we need to turn on the transmitter. Quick press. And put the transmitter down for now. Make sure the throttle is down. And then plug in the second plug into its power plug. And there we go. Putting it on the ground. Now we are bound. Now again, we need to arm the motors first. Motors are armed, and then going into stabilized mode with a quick press here. So green, green. We should be good to go. Let's see how it flies in 1S. Because 2S is, wow. But yeah, I got to give it a lot more throttle here to fly in 1S. But it's a lot more manageable in 1S as compared to the 2S flight. No punch at all, very little punch at all. Slow acceleration, more suitable for beginner pilot. Here we go. But still fast, still quite fast. Still can be quite fast. But the acceleration is nowhere near what it was with 2S. So a lot more lot more easy to handle with 1S battery than it was with 2S. So let's bring it back over again and see it up close. Bringing it up to eye level, and there it is, the Novice II. Bringing it back around, close in, and showing it up close again. Yeah. Whoa, I was trying to punch it, but it just doesn't have the punch with 1S. 1S, there's no punch. So let's bring it in, we'll land it, and then we'll go into FPV flight. So hold on, folks, and I'll get ready for FPV. Wonder if I can catch it in my hand. Actually, I'm not going to catch this one in my hand because there's no blade protectors on it, and I don't want to dig up my fingers. So hold on, folks, while I switch this to FPV. I'm going to get my goggles on, we'll go flying. Okay, we are out here at one of my favorite flying fields. We are ready to go here. I am going to be flying in stabilized mode with the VR009 goggles. First off, I want to arm the motors and then put on the goggles while the motors are armed and checking that we are indeed armed. And I'm seeing some scratchiness here. Let me see if I can get a better channel here because this, well, it says A2. Let me do an auto scan, folks, and see if we get a better channel because it's kind of scratchy what I'm seeing here on the screen. It's searching, okay, and we're back to A2, so that's the channel at once. I'm going to raise this one antenna up a bit. God, it's really scratchy on what I'm seeing here, but let's take to the air, folks. I'm going to go in stabilized mode, so we're in stabilized mode. Let's take to the air and see if it improves a bit. We're going to fly stabilized. Stabilize the 1S. Now, with these goggles are not the best. I'm looking right now, but they are sufficient to fly, but they are nowhere near as high resolution as better goggles like my Vipers. And also, the signal I'm getting is real scratchy on the screen here, the FPV signal. But you know what? Let's land this for a second and raise up the power, the transmission power, see if that helps a bit. Since this is switchable, and I'll show you how to do that here shortly. It's landed close by. Okay, what I'm going to do is disarm. Okay, we're disarmed. Then I'm going to move the left stick up and to the left, and the right stick full up, and that enters into the menus. And then we go down to features, and then click in. No, that click into the right. No, click to the right.
and then go down to video transmitter and click to the right, and then go down, and I'm going to set the power level and move it up a bit. Can't hit back. No, that's not the power level. Where's the power? There you are. Power level 25, 200, and we're going to hit set and confirm. Yes. So now I've increased the power level on this, and I got to scan again to find that one more time here. So hold on, let me scan. Seems to switch to a different frequency when I did that. Okay, we are back again. I got a real good signal. Let me check, make sure that I'm recording on my Viper goggles too. On the deck, so arming. Oh, I got to hit back. 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 And save exit. Okay, we're good there. So we're disarmed and pressing until I get armed. Okay, armed, and stabilized mode is what I want. Taken to the air again. And yeah, the video looks much better now. So I bumped up the power level because that video was just not appropriate. Let's see if I can go down to the trees with 1S battery. Okay, I'm seeing RSSI dropping significantly over there, so I don't want to go too far over there. I was going down to the 30s, which is not the best RSSI, but again, this is a micro FPV, so let's go around. And how's the power level with 3.4 volts? Still good. Going through the trees, pulling back, coming around, going through the trees this way. So yeah, it doesn't have a lot of punch here when you're flying it with 1S. It's not very aggressive, but again, it's not meant to be. It's meant for a beginner flyer in 1S. So stabilized mode, and let's see if we can come through here. And it does fly appropriately for a beginner flyer in 1S mode. The controller seems to work well in 1S. I don't know how it's going to work at 2S. Because this controller feels real, it does feel toyish, I got to admit that. But let's try going bias. And coming around, coming bias again in 1S. Zoom! So, yeah, it's reasonable. A reasonable package for entry into FPV. Now, I know the first thing you're going to want to do as soon as you get into this is you're going to want to get better goggles, because these goggles are not the best. And eventually you're going to want to transition to a better transmitter. But you know, this would be good to practice with and learn it. And then once you start to become dissatisfied with the transmitter and the goggles, then consider going and purchasing a better one, better set. So let's see if I can go between here. Oh no, I'm going to stop. I'm not just going to get that.
Stay.
Well, she gets that.
Huh?
Okay, I think that's enough of 1S flying. Let's put 2 batteries in this. Put 2 batteries in this and see how it flies in acro mode. So hold on, folks. If you get dirt in your motors, you can get them out by holding them. If you notice on the bottom here, they're open bottom motors. And if you just spin it around till you don't feel any more resistance, that will get the dirt out of the motors. That's why this wasn't arming there. We had a little bit of dirt in there from that landing in the sand. I got to try avoid landing in sand. Sand is not good for these, by the way. So we should be good to go again. So I'm still armed. I was doing that while I was armed. That was not smart. But we are at acro and armed. We should be good to go again. So let's try it again. Arming, take it to the air with 2S. Wow. Tilting my head back quite a bit here. I could use some, I'm trying to get the feel for this. But yeah, I could use some pushing up of that lens. But let's try a stopping again. Hold on, I gotta raise that lens up. That lens is too high or too low. Okay, to raise that lens, I need to use an Allen wrench, and I didn't bring that Allen wrench. It came in that package. So we're gonna just fly slow. Okay, again, this is a beginner's drone. So we're gonna fly slow in acro. Actually, let's try it instead of acro, let's go to air mode.
Stabilized, air. Let's try it in air and see how it flies. So going back to the air. Yeah, this controller, I'll tell you folks, it feels odd when you're used to, you know, maybe it's because I'm used to better controller, to tell you the truth, folks. But it does feel somewhat odd trying to fly this with this toy controller, especially flying FPV. And also the goggles are not the best. And the PIDs are not the best either. Right now, I'll tell you, right? They do feel the need for some tuning in stabilized mode. So again, I got a feeling this is mainly meant for, the way it's set up right now is mainly meant for beginner flyers to be flying around in stabilized mode. The PIDs are actually kind of awful on this. They react quite a bit later. It just needs tune. In other words, I'm just going to fly it slowly then with these PIDs, not try anything aggressive while flying it around here because they just do not feel right. But they can be adjusted, like I said. Going up higher and let's try. See what I mean? The ability to recover from these maneuvers with this controller, or I don't think it's the controller, but I think it's the PIDs, is somewhat to be desired. They're just not reactive enough. Again, they are more or less, I guess they are set for beginner pilots, is the idea. To just fly around like this, okay? You're not going to be doing aggressive moves in stabilized mode. You know, that's what it must be. I guess it's meant for the beginner pilots to learn flying acro, because, you know, they're not aggressive, they're real smooth, but not overly reactive. So you're not going to be able to, with the PIDs that they are, the way they're tuned right now, you're not going to be able to do much stunts like flips and rolls, but you will be able to learn flying FPV acro with these PIDs because they are sufficient for that. Let's get up. I was going to hit that tree and I did hit that tree. I do it. Whoa, we were up there. See what I mean about the punch of this thing? It took off rather aggressively into the sky. So I'm not going to do any more stunts again because the PIDs are not meant for that. So let's just fly acro FPV. Coming around, and I'm not going to fly high speed either because I need to raise those that lens quite a bit to do such. Let's just do some passes by us. Let's see if I can get some high speed passes. Coming by. Well, yeah. The controller feels a bit toyish to me, but others might like this. I'm getting the feel for it somewhat. But it's quite a bit different feel than my any of my other controllers. And the goggles, you know, they are beginner's goggles, and you do quite notice the difference in resolution between these and better goggles. But again, meant for beginners, ready to go out of the box. This is more than sufficient to learn FPV with. Although you're not going to be winning any races with this drone with this controller and these goggles. So, get quite a good flight time out of it though. I'm flying quite a bit here with this. Get good flight time with this 2S battery. Flying with 2S. Okay, I'll try one. I had to do that. Try one the other direction. Okay, I'm getting the feel of this controller. It's really difficult to switch from, you know, hobby grade controllers to these. but I'm getting a feel for it now. Just took a little bit of flying, and just as I'm getting the feel for it, my battery's starting to warn me. Let's go around the pole. Coming by us. Going around us. And coming through again. Let's do another pass by. Okay, we're going to land here shortly. It's chirping, saying, you better land about now. Okay, I'll do that. Get back to us. Yeah, close enough. And coming out of air and coming and disarming. So there's our flight time. That's good flight time, I guess. That's not the real flight time though, folks. I'll tabulate what the real flight time was. Notice the beeper going off. It gives you a beep. That beeping is warning us that we were low battery. So another good indicator, good thing for beginner pilots. So my thoughts on this. Yeah, this wouldn't be good to learn FPV outdoors with. As soon as I get one of these unplugged. Hold on, that one don't want to come unplugged right now. There we go. So as a trainer for FPV pilots, I would recommend you being an intermediate pilot to go into this. This one here is a little more aggressive than suitable for a beginner pilot, okay? You'd be an intermediate pilot wanting to transition to FPV. Yeah, this would be a good setup. I would not try, well, you can do tricks. I did do some tricks with this, but it's going to take you, those of you that are experienced FPV pilots are going to, you're going to have some reservations about the goggles and about the controllers. But if you're brand new to FPV, you're not going to notice that. Actually, it should be more than sufficient for you to fly and learn to fly FPV with this for an intermediate pilot. If you're a total beginner pilot and you want to fly FPV, I would recommend going with the Novice I, which I've also reviewed. Much more forgiving and drone as compared to this, and also meant for indoor flying. This one here I would not recommend for indoor flying. It's going to break. Okay, you're going to go through a lot of these propellers, in other words, or you're going to bang something up, especially if you're going 2S. You could do it with 1S, but I would not recommend it. So, hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101, signing out. Hi, Quadcopter 101 here again. Hey, if you want to get your own shout out in one of my future videos, make sure you subscribe to my channel. It's real simple. Just go to my channel page and click on that subscribe. And also make sure to click that bell button right next to the subscribe button. That way you get notified when I release a brand new video immediately and give you a chance to get that first shout out. So give it a try, folks.